What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, oh boy, some news has come out about Microsoft. And honestly, it just continues to prove more and more and more how Microsoft isn't as good as any other massive corporation. I know a lot of people always said that, Microsoft is going to save the Call of Duty franchise since they picked up Activision. I've been saying time and time and time again, and a lot of other content creators have been saying this as well, to stay cautious, because a lot of these corporations, they will screw over your favorite games. Whether you like it or not, they will, do the absolute worst to make sure that they profit at the end of the day. And even though Microsoft has been trying to be buddy-buddy with the gamers, we know, once again, they are indeed a major corporation. And again, some new information has come out, which is going to disappoint a lot of you guys. And I think it's going to put a few good points on why we shouldn't trust the big dogs when it comes to, the success of our favorite titles. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content just like this, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. And of course, if you guys want to check out any of my live streams, I do that over on Kick pretty much daily. That stream starts between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. It ends around 5 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, if you guys want to check that out, I got a link to that down below. But let's get right into the topic of today's video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Microsoft, as you can see right here, closed Redfall developer, Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush developer, Tango Gameworks, and more in devastating cuts at Bethesda. I can actually go into a little bit more detail here on the other teams that were cut. Let me actually see. Alpha Dog Studio got cut, and also Roundhouse Games. Now, I feel like a lot of you guys probably won't know a lot of these development teams. You might not even know what games that they make. But still, at the end of the day, this just proves to me and a lot of other people that they are just not. They're not it. And I get it. Trust me, I do get it. That we could potentially see Call of Duty on Game Pass, so on and so forth. That's probably the best thing we have ever seen from Microsoft so far. That they're going to go ahead and incorporate some OG CODs and stuff like that, and maybe the new CODs on Game Pass in the future. And also the fact that they slightly fixed up the servers on OG COD games. Cheaters are still there, but it feels a tad bit better to play if you're playing on console for the OG titles. So yes, they've done some good things. But guys, that's pretty much it, right? Like realistically, what else have they done for at least Call of Duty in general, and just in gaming as a whole? Honestly, ever since they picked up Activision, like I said, there was a couple of good things regarding Call of Duty, and everything else has just been L after L after L after L after L. Every single news article, every single thing that's being said about them is just another devastating story. And it's hilarious because, they paid so much money for Activision, and that could have easily kept everybody in their jobs. But guess what? They'd rather go ahead and buy another massive corporation to, once again, profit. And I've seen a lot of people, on the internet also claim that maybe they're doing this to, basically close out competition. That's the best way of legally doing so, right? To buy out the competition and then just cut the studio. Buy out more competition, cut the studio. Buy out more competition, cut the studio. Of course, unless they can treat it like Call of Duty, where they can make it their own Microsoft, well, it's not a Microsoft exclusive, but they own Activision. They're probably getting the mass majority of the sales. It's going to be looking good for them. When Call of Duty is maxing out sales, their name, Microsoft, will be on that, so it's going to look really good for them as well. So, games like this, they'll keep along, but other games, potential competitors, this is the best cutthroat way of doing things that is completely legal. Just buy them out, and then just obviously over time, just completely cut out the team and remove everybody. But I do want to touch on this one last time. Yes, Microsoft is just as bad as Activision, but I can't deny the facts that they've been doing a little bit more with Call of Duty than, we've seen in other titles. We've gotten a discussion with skill-based matchmaking. Sledgehammer has given us tons of communication. It almost seems like the doors are open and they're able to talk to their communities and listen to their communities. We've been getting a ton of, live service content, for the first time ever in Call of Duty. We've been seeing some good things, like I said, the servers for COD, so on and so forth. But maintaining the community's quote-unquote happiness, even though it didn't really make them happy hearing about skill-based matchmaking, but, doing stuff like that isn't a problem, right? They can easily do that. But when it comes down to the dollar, that is where they get greedy. You see, and they probably won't discuss more things with matchmaking that a lot of the community want to hear about, like EOMM, for example, because again, that will mess with their dollar bills, right? Skill-based matchmaking they can dissect because skill-based matchmaking is skill-based matchmaking. It's just there to, put you in brackets for your matchmaking, right? But people are a little bit more curious about being manipulated with EOMM, but that would affect their money. They more than likely won't go ahead and discuss that. And that's the point being made here, is that, yes, Microsoft might be doing good things for the Call of Duty franchise, but if something ever happens, if something ever occurs, they will cut this franchise in a blink of an eye. Mark my words. Mark my words. If out of nowhere this franchise becomes non-profitable and it screws them over, or something happens within the game, anything can happen. If something affects their pockets, they will make sure they take action, right? And that's just what we have to come to the conclusion on here. This is a business, just like any other business. These development teams, they are the passionate people who like to put together these games. But it's very hard for these developers to be able to stay as an indie team where they can keep their own passion and do their own thing. A lot of the times, they get bought out. They get bought by massive corporations who are, once again, businesses, not the developers who make the games, who enjoy and have a passion for the games, but businesses that want to sell them and make profit off of them. And that's how it always goes. 9 times out of 10, they need the budget of these massive corporations. And these corporations, as much as we want to say that they can do good things for us, at the end of the day, they will screw us over more than half of the time. That's just simply how it goes. And we have to accept that. And at the same time, we have to acknowledge that we are coming down from a massive gaming hype. That's the hardest part about game design, too. And it's something that I hate to acknowledge because I don't want any of these people to lose their jobs. Nothing in the world is worse than, losing your work, your income, and then having to scramble around and try to, figure out a way to live. It's horrifying. It sucks. It's scary. I don't want to wish that upon any of them. But the reality is that these games used to be made with barely any people, right? I mean, we're talking about maybe hundreds. Nowadays, we have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of employees working on these games. And it really did start up after the COVID boom. COVID really did spark the gaming phase because everybody was indoors. Everything was pretty much closing up. Nothing was really open. People were taken out more often. Work was at home. So people aren't chilling at home, and gaming was definitely a main source of entertainment, and they capitalized on this, and they might have over-capitalized on this and shot the vision of, how gaming is going to pan out, because obviously we have died back down here. Obviously everything's back to normal pretty much. Well, yeah, it is. Don't really got to worry too much about it. I know some people stress out, but I mean, pretty much nobody gives a crap. And everybody's back to their lives. Everybody's back to their normal lives, not playing as much of the games anymore. So now they might not be making they're claiming they're making a lot of cash through microtransactions and stuff of that sorts, but realistically, they saw that they might have overshot when it came to how many people they hired. So they're cutting it. They're cutting it down. It's literally as simple as that. And like I said, personally, it sucks because I don't want these people to lose their jobs. I mean, unless maybe they deserve it. If they're really bad at their job, then yeah. But it sucks. I don't want to see talent have to leave. But that is the reality of the scene here. The big dogs overcompensated for what's actually going to happen. And it is what it is. And also at the same time, it's a very competitive field. If you really think about it, back in the day compared to now, the people who go to school, just simply go to school for game design has probably quadrupled, which means that it's 10 times more competitive. So many people are trying to pack in there. It's a really hard, rough scene, ladies and gentlemen. It's a really hard, rough scene. But at the same time, we have to understand that they're going to do anything for the dollar bill. They're simply going to do anything for the dollar bill, even if it means cutting out all these teams. If it means they'll profit in the long run, that's irrelevant to them. They're not thinking about the people, their lives, their families. They're not thinking about any of that stuff. It's irrelevant. What matters to them is when they look at their income and they see, is it going up or is it going down? And if cutting these teams means it goes up, that's all that matters. They just don't care about the rest of the crowd. So the moral of the story here is don't really, trust any of these corporations. Yeah, they might be better. And I feel like a lot of us were hyping up the Microsoft buying out Activision phase because honestly, Activision was really, 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 really bad. And so far, yeah, even though, like I said, they're kind of equal, Microsoft has done more stuff than Activision. I will be honest. They have done more good things for the COD community than Activision has done. But regardless, that doesn't mean that they are the best people in the world and they're going to save the franchise and they're going to do everything in their power. No, you know why they bought Activision? So they can profit off of, all their assets. That's why they bought Activision, not so they can fix up COD. That's the last thing on their plate. And like I said, if COD ever fumbles, they might they might hop through a few hoops to try to fix it up. But if all else fails, you best believe they'll cut the franchise. It's a GG in the chat. They don't care about this game. And we have to understand that they might do things to help improve it because it makes them a lot of money. It's one of their biggest, assets now. They own COD, basically. But if that money stops coming in, then yeah, it is what it is. They'll do probably what they have to do, especially when it comes to the development teams. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, go down in the comment section, leave your opinions down below, what you guys think about all this stuff. What do you think about the Microsoft layoffs here? Do you think they're justified? Do you think that, it's messed up? I love reading all the opinions down below. And, you guys know me. I love responding to comments and everything like that. So like I said, drop them down below. And of course, if you guys enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. Don't forget, guys, subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. And I do stream pretty much daily over on Kick. If you guys are interested, I got a link to that down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.